she was merely a janitor, unseen as she mopped the hospital floors long after the world had fallen asleep. But one night, she overheard a small boy whisper, "What if I don't wake up?" And in that moment, she did something nobody anticipated. She reached into her pocket and handed him the only thing she still had of her own child, a toy. Worn, faded, filled with memories of love and loss. What she didn't realize was that the boy's father, a powerful doctor, was standing in the hallway, watching everything unfold. What happened next changed everything in ways no one had foreseen. Please listen until the very end to discover what transpired, and kindly subscribe to our channel. Also, let us know which country you're tuning in from. The pediatric wing of St. Jude Children's Research Hospital in Memphis was eerily quiet that night. Fluorescent lights buzzed softly overhead, and the walls carried faint smells of antiseptic and lavender hand soap. However, room 217 wasn't asleep. 7-year-old Noah Bennett sat upright in bed, his tiny fingers clenched tightly around the sheets. He gazed out the window, breathing in short, panicked bursts. His voice cracked as he whispered to the empty room, "What if I go to sleep and I don't wake up?" He was alone. His father, Dr. Julian Bennett, one of the hospital's leading neurologists, had been called away for an emergency consultation across town. The timing couldn't have been worse. Noah was scheduled for a risky bone marrow transplant the next morning, a procedure that frightened him more than he let on. What Noah didn't know was that someone had been listening. Out in the hallway, Camila Rivera, a 26-year-old janitor on the night shift, paused with her mop. She hadn't intended to overhear anything. She was just passing through as usual, blending into the background. But something about that voice, that trembling, struck her like a punch to the chest. Without thinking, she pushed her mop aside and stepped into the room. Noah looked up. Startled, she offered him a gentle, soft smile. "Couldn't sleep?" she asked quietly. He shook his head, blinking back tears. "I don't want to go to sleep. What if I don't wake up?" Camila hesitated briefly, then did something she hadn't done in years. She reached into the deep front pocket of her scrub top and slowly pulled out a small wooden toy car. Faded red paint chipped along the edges, initials carved into the bottom. "Mister, I had a little boy," she said softly, kneeling beside his bed. "His name was Mateo. He was your age. When he was scared, I used to give him this." Noah's eyes widened as she placed the car in his hands. He told me that when he held it, he felt brave, like he could race faster than his fear. The child turned the car in his fingers. "Did it work?" Camila's voice softened. "Sometimes. And tonight, maybe it will work for you, too." Noah lay back down, the car cradled against his chest. His breathing slowed. Within minutes, he was asleep. Camila gently tucked the blanket under his arms. What she didn't realize was that someone was observing from the doorway. Julian Bennett, dressed in his lab coat, had returned just in time to see a stranger, a janitor, calming his son in a way he hadn't been able to for weeks. He said nothing, just watched, eyes burning with emotion before silently turning and walking away. The next morning, Noah's surgery proceeded. It was long, tense, but ultimately successful. Camila returned during her break, and Noah's face lit up when he saw her. "You're back," he said happily. "Of course I am," she replied. "I wanted to make sure my brave racer made it through." Days went by, and Camila visited Noah often, sneaking in snacks, telling silly stories, and sometimes softly singing when his pain was too much. She never stayed long, hesitant to overstep, but Noah looked for her like clockwork. Dr. Julian Bennett, noticing this, started lingering a little longer during his visits, sometimes catching Camila's stories from the hallway. He began asking her polite questions about how Noah had been feeling, what he'd eaten, if he'd smiled. Camilla always answered honestly, her voice calm and warm. One evening, as the ward quieted and the night shift settled in, Julian approached her in the break room. His usual guarded expression was gone. "Thank you," he said simply. Camilla looked up, surprised. For what? For staying? For helping him sleep? For everything. A silence fell between them, the kind that only exists among people carrying invisible scars. Julian sat across from her. "That toy car," he said softly. "It belonged to your son." Camilla nodded, her hand trembling as she spoke. "Mateo," she whispered. "He died here in this hospital 3 years ago. Playground accident. His head hit the wrong way. They brought him here. Tried everything." Her voice broke. Julian's face grew still. "I didn't know what to do with his things afterward. I kept the car. Just kept it. Couldn't let it go." Camilla paused. "When I saw Noah that night, so scared. So small, he looked just like Mateo. Same eyes. Same age. I couldn't leave him." Julian swallowed hard, then said quietly, "My wife. She was hit by a drunk driver during a grocery run. One moment she was on the phone with me, and the next, I was raising Noah alone. Their pain hung in the air, thick and undeniable, like fog. But it also marked the start of something unspoken, a connection. A few days later, Camilla found a box waiting for her in the break room. Inside was a perfect replica of Mateo's toy car, handcrafted with initials engraved in silver, MR. A note was underneath. "You lent my son courage when I couldn't. I hope this gives you some of it back." Julie and Camilla held the car close to her chest and cried. Noah was finally well enough to go home. On his last morning, he called Camilla into his room, expecting a goodbye hug. She entered, but instead, he reached into a suitcase and pulled out the original toy car, the one she had given him. "I think you want to go back to you." Noah said, "He helped me. Now he wants to help you again." Camilla knelt beside him, tears in her eyes. "Thank you," she whispered. "You've taken such good care of him." Weeks went by, and the hospital halls returned to their usual rhythm. Camilla pushing her cart, sweeping floors, greeting nurses with quiet nods. Then, one morning, after finishing her shift, she checked her email on the cracked screen of her phone. Her eyes scanned the inbox until she saw it. A message from a private foundation. A full scholarship had been created in her name. Pediatric nursing. Full tuition. Books. Living stipend. No sender name. No explanation. Just a note at the bottom. Her hands trembled. She didn't need a signature. She knew. The following Sunday, she stood on the porch of Julian and Noah's house, modest, sunlit, with flower pots lining the railing. She hesitated before knocking, nervously smoothing her dress. When the door opened, it wasn't Julian. It was Noah, who flung his arms around her. "Miss Camilla, you came." Inside, the table was set for three. A gentle breeze fluttered through the curtains, moving the folded cloth napkins. And on the kitchen shelf sat the red toy car, cleaned, polished, its paint gleaming softly. Beside it, a small drawing taped the wall, depicting stick figures labeled me, Miss Camilla, and Mateo with tiny angel wings, holding hand beneath a bright yellow sun. Julian appeared behind her, apron tied, smiling softly. "You helped me remember what hope looks like," he said, "and I want to give some of that back." That night, they shared a laughter-filled dinner, genuine, deep belly laughs. Camilla felt her guard fall away, in pieces she hadn't realized she still carried. Later, sitting on the couch with dessert, Noah leaned into her with sleepy eyes and whispered, "I think Mateo would like us." Camilla wrapped her arms around him, voice thick with emotion. "I think," she whispered, He already does. Sometimes, the greatest gifts come from those who have the least to give, but give anyway. Sometimes, healing begins with child's tears and a toy car once held in a mother's broken hands. And sometimes, the family we need finds us, not with fanfare, but with quiet love, shared pain, and the courage to stay. If this story touched your heart, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Let us know your thoughts and opinions in the comments below. Thank you for listening to Seeds of Rose.